America falls to fascism, every other country falls like dominoes.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We are here today to commemorate the 89th anniversary of the first Republic of East Turkistan's National Independence Day, as well as the 78th anniversary of the Second Republic of East Turkistan. We are also here to again call on the international community to take swift actions to end China's ongoing campaign of colonization, genocide, and occupation in East Turkistan. With the G20 summit taking place this coming week, we urge democratic leaders who value human rights and respect the right to external self-determination to condemn and intervene to end China's ongoing colonization and genocide in occupied East Turkestan. We call on President Joe Biden to lead the free world in making it clear to Xi Jinping and the racist Chinese government that the free world will no longer tolerate China's colonization and genocide in East Turkestan. We plead with world leaders to uphold their commitments to never again and the UN Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide. We call on the international community to intervene and end China's 21st century Holocaust-like genocide in East Turkestan before it's too late. We once again appeal to the international community, led by the United States, to recognize East Turkestan as an occupied country and support East Turkestan's just struggle for national independence and existence. For over 6,400 years, East Turkistan has been the homeland of Uyghurs, Kazakhs, Kyrgyz, and other Turkic peoples. Contrary to China's false claims, East Turkistan was never a part of China. Unfortunately, the modern history of East Turkistan has been mostly turbulent and tragic. East Turkistan is located on the eastern side of historic Greater Turkestan, or Central Asia, which was divided by the Pamir Plateau following Russia's 19th century conquest of Central Asia. West Turkestan was invaded and occupied by the Russians, while East Turkestan was invaded and occupied by the Manchu Empire in 1884. East Turkestan's people have consistently refused to submit to foreign occupation and colonial rule since the initial Manchu and later Chinese invasions. East Turkestan regained its independence 89 years ago today, on November 12, 1933, guided by the spirit of anti-colonialism, reform, modernization, and national awakening. Since November 12, 1933, the people of East Turkestan have celebrated this day as East Turkestan's National Independence Day. On November 12, 1933, tens of thousands of people from all walks of life, both young and old, gathered along the banks of the Tumen River in Kashgar. Following the 36-gun salute, Mehmet Ali Tevfik's Salvation March was introduced and sung as the new Republic's national anthem, the very national anthem that we just now listened to. It was followed by a speech by Prime Minister Sabit Damullah Abdulbaki, who officially established the East Turkistan Republic. In our history, the East Turkistan Republic was the first modern constitutional independent state to permanently define our national flag, the blue flag that which you see, our national emblem, and our national anthem as symbols of that unforgettable day and symbols of our national independence. Although the first East Turkistan Republic was short-lived, following the Soviet and Chinese invasion on April 6, 1934, it left behind the most important evidence, symbols, and visions for our ongoing struggle to reclaim our national independence. It fueled our determination to reclaim our independence and sovereignty. It made patriotism the focal point of our lives. As a result, it inspired the people of East Turkestan to rise up once again in 1944. The determination to reestablish our sovereign state grew, and the Second National Liberation Movement established a strong foothold in East Turkestan's northern region. The Armed National Liberation Movement ended Chinese occupation and colonial rule in the three northwestern provinces of East Turkestan in 1944. The National Liberation Movement was successful in quickly liberating Xinjiang on November 7th, 1944. However, in order to honor the first East Turkistan Republic and the spirit of its founding fathers and the martyrs, the leaders of the Second East Turkistan National Liberation Movement and the people of East Turkestan decided to postpone redeclaring East Turkestan's independence until November 12, 1944. As a result,
we're glad you joined us today. As we already said, we're celebrating the 89th and 79th National Independence Day of the Republic of East Turkestan. Today is a big day for the Uyghurs, Kazakhs, and other Turkic people who live in East Turkestan. It's the day the people of East Turkestan got their freedom and independence back. Uyghurs and other East Turkistanis have fought against Chinese rule and tired to get their independence back for the past 73 years. In addition to celebrating East Turkistan National Independence Day, I want to remind you again of the ongoing genocide that China has been committing against Uyghurs and other Turkic people, especially East Turkistani women and children, since the day they occupied our country. We all know that women have been very important to the growth and survival of nations throughout history. Without them, nations wouldn't exist. Women are not only the mothers of nations, but they're also the daughters and wives, and the pillars of the family, which is the most important part of the nation. Children are the future of every country. In East Turkistan history, brave women have always led our country to victory. From 1944 to 1949, when the Second East Turkistan Republic was in power, East Turkistani women held important positions in the government and the East Turkistan National Army. Women and children in East Turkestan have been oppressed since 1949, when China invaded and took over the country. Since then, East Turkistani women and children have been subjected to atrocities over and over again for the past 73 years. Millions of Uyghurs and other Turkic women have been forced to have abortions, be sterilized, and stay in concentration camps and prisons, where they have been sexually isolated and raped. China has taken at least 500,000 East Turkistani women out of East Turkestan and put them into slave and forced labor factories in Chinese provinces over the past 20 years. Added to the tens of thousands of Uyghurs and other Turkic women were forced to marry Chinese men as a part of the plan to wipe us out. East Turkistani women who refuse to marry Chinese men are sent to concentration camps, prisons, and slave labor camps. Even East Turkistani children have been killed by the racist Chinese government, just like East Turkistani women. Uyghurs and other Turkic children have been taken from their mothers and families and sent to the orphanages and boarding schools to be raised as loyal Chinese citizens. The Chinese government and its forces hard the minds and bodies of Uyghur and other Turkic children in these so-called orphanages and boarding schools, which are really just child concentration camps. The rest of the world knows what China is doing in East Turkestan. We're asking the international community and all groups around the world to do something to stop China from killing people and taking over East Turkestan. We want China to be brought to the hook by the rest of the world. We want the International Criminal Court and the International Court of Justice to look into China's ongoing crimes against humanity and genocide in East Turkestan and hold it accountable. We ask the rest of the world to help the people of East Turkestan in their fight for independence, freedom, and their very lives, as well as to bring together the millions of Uyghur mothers and children who have been separated. China is destroying the minds and bodies of East Turkistani women, which is destroying the future of the East Turkistan nation. And now I ask every woman, what is it like to be separated from your child? What does it feel like to be abused every day physically, sexually, and mentally? We can't even imagine or understand what it's like until go through it. Every day millions of East Turkistani women have to deal with these kinds of terrible things. Everyone has the right to live on their own terms. Women in East Turkestan are no different. The ongoing genocide and suffering of East Turkistani's people, especially East Turkistani women, over the past 73 years, shows that East Turkistani women can only live free from physical, sexual, and mental abuse if East Turkestan gets its independence back. China has never been a part of East Turkestan. We're not asking for something that has belonged to China. Instead, that we're fighting for the country, the land that our ancestors and mothers owned before us and passed down to us from generation to generation. Happy East Turkestan Independence Day. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, Prime Minister Lydiard, and thank you to all the people assembled here today. I can't speak on behalf of the U.S. government, but I've worked for the U.S. government for a long time, and what I can say is this. We're gathered here today to commemorate the independence of the Republic of East Turkestan, and yesterday we remembered the sacrifices made by the veterans throughout our history. They fought over 100 years ago in what was called the War to End All Wars, where tens of millions of people died, due in no small part to the short-sightedness of leadership at the time. Afterward, after the First World War, we founded the League of Nations with many other nations, and it gave hope to the world that there might be peace. But unfortunately, our leadership was still short-sighted, and we learned all too soon that there were things worse than greed. And by that, I mean racial hatred, megalomania, and the idea of power without government. And once again today, we see the same in Xi Jinping.
Unite for your principles.
So my message to you today is
this devil's insurrection down.
America doesn't want war.
MAGA is the
But
devil's
if
insurrection.
it comes to us, we will fight it.
Tactically lying,
When you
waging
have somebody
war,
like Xi Jinping who wants power without
waging an
limits, there's almost
actual
no way to
undeclared
avoid
war
it.
upon we
But there is
people
one
of
way we can
America.
avoid it, and that's by standing up to it and showing it what right is, and by doing the right thing. So I'd like to thank the Congress and President Biden for enacting the Uyghur Forced Labor Prevention Act. That is going to be a great tool for our country to crack down on China's malicious activity and also to punish it for its genocide. I'd like to thank the Commerce Department for restricting the export of semiconductors to the People's Republic of China. The Chinese army should not have the most high-tech equipment. And if they do, it should definitely not be provided by us or any other free country. So we need to enforce the bill, and we need to do so alongside our allies and partners in Europe, and Japan, and across the world. We need to have transparency in its enforcement, and that's why I hope everybody here today will call the members of Congress and demand transparency in the Uyghur Forced Labor Prevention Act and enforcing the semiconductor restrictions.
Putin could talk the rest of that aside.
So I think it can seem very hopeless to fight a power like China, because China is very powerful, let's face it. Beijing has a huge military, and they have an absolute level of control over their people that has only been seen a few times in history. But I'd like to remind you that in 1945, my own people, the Jewish people, were nearly destroyed by Adolf Hitler. Who would have thought 3 years later that they would found a free and independent state of Israel? And just this year, when everything seemed hopeless for Ukraine, in February, the smartest people among us were saying that Ukraine would fall within a matter of days. But they were wrong. They were all wrong. There's still hope. There's great hope. And I believe if we can gather here today, and if we continue to gather and demand action on the part of the President and the Congress, that we will see a free and independent East Turkestan very soon in the future. Thank you.
Trump is Hitler on steroids. Take it to those underground shelters.
Assalamu alaikum, East Turkestan. Today we commemorate the 89th and 78th anniversary of East Turkistan Republic's Independence Day. This is a day we celebrate the spirit that has defined us as the people of East Turkestan for more than 9 decades. This is a day we celebrate the fearless spirit of the founding fathers of East Turkestan. This is a day we remember the brave men and women who fought against our enemies to establish and defend our country. Unfortunately, our freedom, our independence did not last long. 73 years ago, the Chinese government invaded our homeland, occupied and colonized our country. For 7 decades, Uyghurs and other Turkic people in East Turkestan have suffered under the occupation of China. For 7 decades, China has subjugated and oppressed our people. And now the Chinese government is carrying out a systematic genocide, murdering our brothers and sisters, our fathers and mothers, and our children. As we speak, under the guise of zero-code policy, the Chinese government is murdering our people. And this time, not just in prisons and concentration camps, but rather they are murdering our people in their own homes. They are murdering our people in so-called quarantine centers. China's so-called cold lockdown policy is absolutely contradictory to the recommendation of the World Health Organization. What the Chinese government has mandated, quarantine entire populations of the people for more than 100 days without food and without medicine. China's so-called zero-code policy is just an excuse, and it has been intentionally used as a technique of murder and as a political tool to wipe out our nation. East Turkestan, do not lose hope. We are not forgetting you. Our fathers and mothers, our brothers and sisters, and our children in East Turkestan. We heard your cries of agony. We have watched your heart-wrenching testimonial videos. We know you are starving to death. You have been doing your best to survive in the darkest days of our history. We are not forgetting you. As we gather here today, I hope that everyone can recognize that today is not only a day to commemorate our independence that has been lost, but rather today is a day we can take collective action to regain our independence. For restoring independence is the key to end the genocide. Restoring independence is the precursor to gaining true freedom and democracy. And restoring independence is the only way to end the centuries-long oppression of our people. East Turkestan, do not lose hope. We have not forgotten you. We have established and restored East Turkestan for twice. And we must believe that East Turkestan can be restored a third time and once for all. May Allah Almighty bless our East Turkestan.
The surface of the planet, saving other people from their genocidal maniacs.
Assalamu alaikum.
Just keep it clear in your head.
12 noyabr Sharqi Turkistan günümüzge mübarek bolsun.
This is where the front line
Dünyanın her qaysi joylarida bu qutluk günü tabriklayotgan barliq Sharqi Turkistonliklar Allah sizlardan razı bolsun. Bundan 89 yıl ve 78 yıl burun bugünkü gün vatanimiz Sharqi Turkiston özünün mustaqilligini ikki qatim qo'lga olgan bir xosiyatli kun. Biz bugün Cumhuriyetimiz kurulgan bu qutluk kunda dushman bilan qon kechib qilgan barliq shahidlarimizni faxrlanib eslaymiz. Sharqiy Turkiston Cumhuriyetini qurib chiqqan Sobit Tamullam, Ilaxon Do'rim qatorliq davlat atlarimizga, bizga istiqlol marshini qoldirib qo'ygan Tavfiq Afandimga shaksiz hurmatimizni bildiramiz ham ular uchun duo qilamiz. Birinchi Cumhuriyet qurganda mustaqil kurishimizning liderlaridan marhum Sobit Tamullam Abduboqiy qatorliq davlat atlarimiz kelgusimizni ko'radigan keyingi avlodlarning xarlat qilmaslik uchun, baxtsizlik tushirmaslik uchun, bizning bugünkidek irqiy qirg'inchilikda qirilib yo'qolib ketmasligimiz uchun bizga bunday kurat angishlarni qoldirib qo'ygan. birinchi jangishlar Sharqiy Turkiston deb atalgan bir mustaqil davlatni qurganligi. İkinci jangishlar qo'limizdagi bu ay yurtli ko'k bayroq. Üçüncü jangishlar Sharqiy Turkiston degan bu muqaddas nom. Dördüncü jangishlar qo'limizda qotgan dushmanga tutilmas jangovar ruh. Devlet atalarımız qadir qo'ygan mujibbat jangishlar asosida dal 10 yildan keyingi bugungi kunda, ya'ni 1944-yili ikkinchi qatimliq Sharqiy Turkiston Cumhuriyati butun dunyoga jakolandi. Amerika boshliq g'arb davlatlarida Sharqiy Turkiston degan davlatning nomi dunyo xaritasiga tushirildi. Devlet atalarımız qadir qo'ygan mujibbat jangishlarni chin tutsak, Allah olsa devletimiz Sharqiy Turkistonning mustaqilligini cho'qim asli keltira olamiz. Mustaqilligimizni qo'lga olgan kundan boshlab
a few things that the previous speakers have covered, and also I believe that it needs to be amplified. First things first, our people's aspiration for independence and freedom has never died down. Whether it's fighting against in the form of empire, whether it's fighting against in the form of national republic, whether it's fighting against in the form of colonialism, our people have strived and stood up and to declare its independence. This is something important, because many of the nations that have been established in the 20th or 19th or 21st century, they were fighting for a particular cause against a particular political structure. But with us, we've been fighting against all. As we stand here today, as you can see, many of us, we are the political aspiration of and the voice of our people. We know independence is the only way future for our people back home. As we all know, genocide is happening in East Turkistan. And China's ambition and its future goal is pretty clear, which is to expand westwards and is to colonize the whole world. And we can see the colonization taking roots not just in East Turkistan, but also in Tajikistan, Sri Lanka, and Africa, and so on. This new colonialism is something that we all need to be cautious on. Because at the end of the day, the influence of China is growing in the free world as well. Whether it's in form of political, whether it's in form of economical, whether it's in form of influence, or whether it's in form of social. We all need to be aware. We all have responsibility, and we will be accountable for our actions.
Go to my website and read. Just go there.
So lastly, I want everyone to be aware that fighting for independence for East Turkistan is not just our responsibility. If you care about your future, if you want a future that is China-free, if you want a future that's not going to focus and turn you into a slave, you need to stand with us and fight for independent East Turkistan. Thank you.
Go home, China!
Go home, China!
China, get out of East Turkistan!
China, get out of East Turkistan!
China, get out of East Turkistan!
China, get out of East Turkistan!
China, stop the
China, stop the genocide!
China, stop the genocide!
China, stop the genocide!
China, end the colonization!
China, end the colonization!
China, end the colonization! China, end the occupation! China, end the occupation!
China, end the occupation!
We want our independence back!
We want our independence back!
We want our independence back!
We want our independence back!
In Chinese occupation!
In Chinese occupation!
In Chinese occupation!
In Chinese occupation!
In Chinese imperialism!
And Chinese imperialism!
In Chinese imperialism!
And Chinese imperialism!
Recognize East Turkistan
Recognize East Turkistan.
Recognize East Turkistan. Support East Turkistan's independence. Support East Turkistan's independence. Restore independence for East Turkistan. Restore independence for East Turkistan. Act now, America! Act now, America! Act against China's ongoing genocide! Act against China's ongoing genocide!
Act against China's ongoing genocide.
Act now, America!
Act now, America.
Act now, America!
Act now, America.
Act against Chinese occupation of East Turkistan!
Act against Chinese occupation of East Turkistan.
Act against Chinese occupation of East Turkistan!
Act against Chinese occupation of East Turkistan.
Act now, America!
Act now, America.
Act now, America!
Act now, America.
Act against Chinese colonialism! Act against Chinese colonialism!
Act against Chinese colonialism.
Condemn Chinese invasion of East Turkistan!
Condemn Chinese invasion of East Turkistan.
Condemn Chinese invasion of East Turkistan!
Condemn Chinese invasion of East Turkistan.
Condemn Chinese occupation of East Turkistan!
Condemn Chinese occupation of East Turkistan.
Condemn Chinese occupation of East Turkistan!
Condemn Chinese occupation of East Turkistan.
Take China to the Hague!
Take China to the Hague.
Take China to the Hague!
Fuck the goddamn fuck out of you, wherever the fuck you went. Traitor! You traitor!
Take China to the ICC!
Take China to the ICC.
Take China to the ICC!
Take China to the ICC.
The GOP.
Recognize East Turkistan!
Recognize East Turkistan.
Recognize
March on Martha, hashtag Martha.
Recognize East Turkistan.
Recognize East Turkistan!
Recognize East Turkistan.
Recognize East Turkistan!
Recognize East Turkistan.
Intervene to end the Uyghur genocide!
Intervene to end the
Uyghur genocide!
Intervene to end the Uyghur genocide.
One of the essential qualities of resistance is anger. You gotta feel your wrath. You gotta keep your wrath out into the nation. So, there's a malfunctioning computer over there. We'll have one. Scream! Scream your own face! Scream in the goddamn